Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and I'm coming to you today with another range report, and a range report on a really cool gun. This is the Diamondback DBX57 pistol. This gun is on loan to the channel from a local subscriber in the Fort Worth area named Jack. Him and I met each other because he contacted me about a Silencer Co. 3-lug adapter. He just contacted me out of the blue and said, hey, I know you're in the area. I got this extra Silencer Co. 3-lug adapter. I know you got Silencer Co. suppressors. Would you be interested in it? I'm like, well, of course. I love the 3-lug system on my Silencer Co. Octanes. So while we were conversing, he said, hey, I also got something else you might be interested in doing. If you'd like to do a range report, take it, borrow it, shoot it, and tell me what you think. I said, absolutely. I don't care what firearm people want to lend me. Even if it's a gun in the past that I've said I'm not interested in, I still want to shoot it and do an honest range report on it. Well, this is a gun that I wasn't even aware of. I mean, I'd heard about Diamondback Firearms before, but it's just been one of those companies that I didn't really know a whole bunch about. In fact, my first experience with Diamondbacks was probably way back when the company first started. I had to look this up, back in 2009. So probably about the 2009-2010 time frame. I remember that a lot of people were interested in the possibility of a 380 Glock. Of course, it took them years later to actually come out with one, but Diamondback tried to fill that role with a subcompact Glock-like gun in 380. And I remember being in a gun store. In fact, I can tell you which one it was. It was cheaper than dirt when they had a physical location in Fort Worth. And they closed up shop there. And I can tell you, I haven't been to cheaper than dirt since 2013 with all the price gouging that they did. So that had to have been before 2013. And I remember looking at them there, and that was the first time I ever got to handle one. I was kind of impressed by the quality, but I also knew they were kind of a budget company. Not that that meant that they were a bad company, but, and I will fully admit, sometimes I'm kind of a snob, okay? So, you know, I like my HKs, I love my B&Ts, I like my Colts. I kind of become a brand snob, okay? So I fully admit that. So sometimes I'll look down on some brands, not that they're bad, just I'm not interested, like the Canucks that I recently reviewed. That was a eye-opening range report a couple weeks back because I was blown away with the performance of that Canuck. And this is actually another company that I'm blown away with the performance of. So I guess this company started back in 2009, I believe their website said. And they have just come up with some pretty innovative firearms and really interesting designs trying to fill roles in the firearm consumer market that other companies are neglecting. So this is a 5.7 chambered pistol. Obviously it has a pistol stabilizing brace in the back. It's a very attractive brace. It looks very much like a triangle stock from like an AK. Very interesting design. I really do like it, and it attaches with a piece of Picatinny rail in the back, just like a SIG MPX. Very interesting design. The mechanism is a rotating bolt gas, I guess it's a gas blowback, or sorry, not gas blowback, a gas piston rotating bolt system. So it's like a miniature AR-15 kind of jam-packed in this little upper. It doesn't disassemble like the AR, but it kind of has the same operating system, and that's really fascinating to me because I love learning about the way that firearms work and the locking mechanism. So this gun does have a locking mechanism, which is really cool and makes the gun shoot very, very smooth. Okay, so the range report. I know it's why you guys are here. What did I think of it? Well, I gotta say, extremely impressed. The accuracy of this gun was off the chart. The mechanics of it, the ergonomics, outstanding. I think it's an extremely well-built firearm. It was very pleasant to shoot. Of course, the 5.7 doesn't have a lot of recoil to begin with, and this pistol stabilizing brace absorbed it just fine. It was a very fun gun to shoot. As I said, extremely accurate. Controls are very natural. It uses a AR-15 trigger system, so you have your safety selector here. All the components inside are the same. You have your trigger pin, your hammer pin. Your magazine release is right here. It's a little bit closer to the shooter's finger because the receiver is a little bit shorter, as it can be with the 5.7. So that is very easy to reach to release the magazine. I like that a lot. So you have the bolt release on this side, which is kind of natural because I kind of found when I shot this, although it has this long handguard up here, you might think you want to hold it up here. I actually really liked holding it right here on the magazine well, which is not really a hold that I normally use and normally like. But this felt very natural because this actually puts my thumb right here on this bolt release. So It was very nice. Right here, I could put the magazine in, up, very ergonomic. I was really happy with that. I think this is a very, very well thought out firearm. So performance was great. I didn't have any hiccups. Now, granted, I didn't get a lot of ammunition with this. I don't have any 5.7, and Jack was so nice to let me borrow a box of 5.7. So I didn't get a lot of trigger time on it, but the gun ran flawlessly. It did everything it was supposed to. Very, very, very strong ejection, which actually I think you see in the video. I mean, it comes right back at the camera. So that was kind of impressive. This thing does shoot the brass out and gets it clear of the action. So reliable, accurate, and honestly, really, really fun. And I think that because of the cartridge that it's chambered in, this would be an extremely effective, maybe like a truck gun, or maybe somebody that's looking for a PCC in a very small home or apartment. This thing is fantastic. You get a lot of capacity with those FN 5.7 magazines. Actually, I think this magazine is made by Pro Mag. Yeah, so it's an aftermarket one, but the FN 5.7s will work in it. Fascinating because of the mechanics of the operating system. I like that a lot. Something else that I really like is originally when I got the gun from Jack, the charging handle, which is now on this side, was on this side. You can actually change it from side to side. Now I moved it to this side, so I sure hope Jack doesn't mind, because I sure like to have guns with charging handles to be manipulated with the left hand, because I like to keep my shooting hand on the firearm, on the grip, and towards the trigger. But this allows me to pretty much charge the gun kind of like an MP5 or a B&T gun. So to me, that is just very ergonomic. Originally it was on this side, so I'd have to take my shooting hand off or turn the gun to the side and manipulate it with my left hand. I kind of find that's a little bit awkward. This works so much better. I had a chance to try to take this thing apart. I'm gonna say try to take this thing apart. I watched some videos on the field stripping. So this is where I'm gonna start talking about a couple things about the gun I don't like. The field stripping process is very different. It's not just like an AR-15 where you hinge the gun, you can pull the bolt and bolt carrier out or any of that. It all comes out kind of from the front. It's really interesting. And the mechanism for the piston is all up here. And as I said, you have to pretty much pull everything out from the front. The handguard comes off very much like a SIG MPX. So once you take out the pivot pin, the handguard comes off. So you can get into a lot of the nooks and crannies of this relatively easy for cleaning, but actually disassembling this is not intuitive at all. I've disassembled enough guns in my time that I've kind of figured out what categories they're in. This one kind of confused me. I always like to try to do it without looking at instructions or watching a video, because I kind of feel like the average gun person is not going to have access or think about going to videos to field strip their guns. It should be something that's very intuitive. This gun is not intuitive at all. Now, is that a detriment to it? I don't think so. It's probably because the mechanics of the gun with the piston, they're trying to get everything shoved into a very small receiver. They just took their time and engineered it a different way. And as I've said in other range reports and other product review videos, different doesn't mean bad. It's just new. And so that's just something I would have to get over. But when it does come to the disassembly of the gun, these pins right here, which are just like AR-15 takedown pins, they are in there really tight. So I had to take a punch and push them through. I can't just push them through with my thumb like I normally could with an AR-15. The trigger group with the lower uses a standard trigger group from an AR-15. As I mentioned, just the receiver design is a little bit different. So another thing about this gun that I think is kind of a detriment to it, and I'm not sure what people are paying for these. I haven't really looked on Gunbroker. I think the price of these is a little bit steep. I was checking out Diamondback's website here, and it says the MSRP on this is $1,125. Now, that most likely means that the street price is going to be a few $100 less. That's usually the way it works. You got the MSRP, then you got the Gunbroker prices, and the gun show, and the gun store prices. So I didn't look it up on Gunbroker because I try not to alter my ideas or my thoughts based off of what other people are saying or actually what the prices are. So if I went online and saw these things were going for $2,000, it might alter my opinion. But I don't know what they're going for right now. But if that really is the price point of this gun, I actually think it's a little bit too much. It is a really, really neat design. There is no doubt. It is super duper reliable. But I don't see $1,000 or an $1,100 gun in this. And I can definitely see where they're cutting a few corners. So I'm going to roll in a picture because I know right now filming this it's not going to show up. But in the magwell here, I can actually see where they were kind of lazy when it came to the machine of the magwell. So I'll roll in a picture of that now. You guys can kind of see some of the machine marks that I'm talking about. There's also some issues with the anodization on the left side, which might not come across on camera, but it's going to be right here. See if I can get this in focus. It's going to be right here around the hammer pin. It looks like there was some bleeding in the anodization. I'll even try to roll in a picture of it there. I tried cleaning it and clearing it, put on some CLP, then I tried some frog lube, and then I tried some of the York's gun wax, and it did not take that off. That is definitely in the anodization. And that's one of those things where if I'm paying $1,100 for a gun like this, I want the finish to be perfect. But does that affect the function? No, it's just one of those small gripes that an OCD gun person like myself would kind of care about. So how can I make this gun better? Or what would I think they could do to make this gun better? Well, I actually think they should make a K configuration of this gun. This is already a super compact pistol. So it does have the folding stock right here, as I mentioned. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say stock, brace. It has a folding brace. Don't want to get anybody in any trouble there. But I found, as I mentioned, that when it came to the way that I hold this gun, I found that the holding onto the magwell is a much better option than holding on to the actual handguard. I wouldn't mind seeing if they could shorten this operating system, because the piston comes all the way out to here, maybe ending the handguard here and just allowing you to hold on to the magwell like this, just like B&T does with the APC 9K. That would make this thing an ultra compact package. So you're getting the 5.7 cartridge in kind of a PCC format that you can SBR if you really wanted to put on like a real stock on this thing, in an extremely short, compact, just design. That would be awesome. I would actually be really interested in that if they had a K configuration of this and got this thing down to about this length. So if you could, cut off about 4 or 5 inches off that barrel, that would be awesome. And I think that type of a gun would be worth the $1,000 price point. This actually is a little bit too big for me, but it is definitely high quality. I'm very impressed with Diamondback's quality. So how would I rank this thing on my star system, my 0 to 5 stars? Well, this is always a little bit tough for me, especially when it comes to the guns that are on loan to the channel, because I never want anybody to think that I don't like their gun. And I'm going to flat out say, before I tell you my rating on this gun, I do like this gun. It was good quality, accurate, fun. It's just maybe not for me. And a couple of the gripes I have, I gotta knock a few stars off this thing. Because of the price, as I mentioned, the length, I don't know, a couple of the quality issues, I guess, when it came to like the finish and so forth. And also remember, this is only an example of one. And so I didn't really have a whole bunch to look and see, well, do they all have this blemish or similar things? And of course the price. But I think for what you get, I'm gonna give this thing, okay, now listen, I'm gonna give it 3 out of 5 stars, okay? So it's kind of a middle of the road rating. Not great, but definitely not bad. Now, if this is a gun that you're interested in, I don't think you can go wrong with it. And I don't think that you should feel bad owning one. Now, if I was interested in this cartridge, and I'm gonna be up in this higher price point, I might just go ahead and hold out to try to get a P90S. That would be my personal opinion, and go with the FN. Now, if this gun was priced in the $750 range, this is a fantastic competitor to that. So, as I said, I'm not really sure what they're going for on Gunbroker. But at $750, this would be one amazing gun, because you get essentially the performance of a 5.7, you get a really cool mechanism, a little bit hard to detail and field strip, as I mentioned. That's another reason why I gave a little bit lower in the rankings and the star rating. But the price is just too high. You're getting too close to like the FN prices, which I look at more of as a premium brand. So that's it. 3 out of 5 stars on the Diamondback DBX57. But if you own one, please know I actually think this thing is an awesome, awesome firearm. Quality, reliable, it's very nice. Might not be for me, but I am honored and humbled that I got to shoot it. And that's one of the cool things about having the YouTube channel and having the most amazing subscribers in the world, is that I get to shoot these awesome, awesome firearms, and I get to see what they're like before I have to buy one. So, the Diamondback DBX57. Really cool, very innovative, different, but that doesn't mean bad, just means new. So there you go. Do you guys own any Diamondback firearms? What do you guys think? There you go. So a very attractive offering. Really neat. Might not be for me. I might hold out for a 5.7 pistol or a P90S, as I mentioned, if I'm going for something to 5.7. But this is definitely a cool gun. So there you go. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments section below. And as always, thanks for watching.